Interesting week, of course. The former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, wins in court.
Yes.
Comes in and launches his new party.
Nawasikia.
Skiza ground.
Yes.
I don't know whether he's listening to the ground, but it's interesting.
Very interesting.
Simon,
Yes.
how was your weekend?
It was very nice. You know, this week even I learned some very interesting things. Like even there's some destiny connectors amongst us.
Oh my goodness.
There's some
There
people
you
even
go.
who are,
There
we
you
have
go.
greatness in our presence. The one and only CEO, I want to appreciate you, but that's
Thank
a
you,
very
man.
important
Thank
thing,
you,
by the way.
thank you,
Because there are many people in your position who would not even do that. What am I talking about? He connected even Bahati to that first song. That first song Bahati made, Mama. He's the one who paid for it. He's the one who paid for it. Who you? And yes, just so you know, put some respect on his name. That's a good thing.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate
man.
that. Go ahead.
Wow. Can I sing?
Go ahead.
No, you can write.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can write. Maria, I've had a good week. It's been actually a very good week. I can't complain. But most importantly, the weather is not weathering well. It's cold some days, and I don't like cold.
What is cold to
I
you?
don't function well with cold.
What is wrong?
I don't know. It's just...
But then I thought you would flourish in the cold, considering that you're sometimes cold-hearted to me.
Oh
Me?
my goodness.
Me who is finding you a wife. Okay.
Guys, that sounds like a curse. You're going to give me, but go ahead, CEO.
Now-
Start us at the top.
Of course, before we get into this story, this week I was on Spice FM. Did I tell you guys?
You're spicing
Wow.
things up.
Yes, I was spicing things up. But then there was a director of metrology and testing, KEBS, who came to the show. And we were talking about the quality standards of medical equipment, of standards of calibration of the weight of bread,
Cement.
cement and all that. And 2 days later, Naivas is on the spot because of selling rotten stuff
And Carrefour.
and Carrefour. I'm even tempted to call Dr. Henry Rotich, the CEO of Metrology, and to ask him what went wrong after the show. Because he assured us a lot of stuff.
And yet, we see what we're seeing. See, but then now, CEO, there's a
Yes.
little bit more to that story, though.
Yeah, what is it?
Because what happened was, even a little bit more just to add on, the Nairobi County specifically.
Yeah.
There's actually even now said about the Naivases within Nairobi County, the Naivases and also the Carrefours. Now, they just stated shutdowns. They're still open. So I just passed by.
Yes.
They're still open. They're still open. I did a scope ground. They're still open.
But still ground.
Yeah, they're still open.
Yeah.
So it was just a statement. You see how those people can make allegations to bring now some shakiness, because behind the scenes, some things are not going properly. Some things were not cleared.
Yes.
Someone somewhere was not facilitated, or some things they're trying to crack down. And notice it's only Nairobi County. Kwani, Nakuru, they don't have Naivas and the same distributions and other things. This is now where we have to take note as even Kenyans and also be very alert as this. Our leaders and government officials will go through extraordinary measures in order to get what they want. And they know that because they can use what? Rules and regulations to squeeze you and to puncture you. Just like how your parents used to tell you, come back here by 6 p.m. If you don't, you know what you see. And you know that your mother will give you that look when you're eating too much in a guest place. You know what you see when you go back home. That's literally now. And then when you ignore that look, aka the warning that the government gives you, that was just like a warning. It was just one of those things. That's why even you have to take note even when government is using its powers to now try to get its finger. It's like, well, that's how it usually is. Or what do you say?
I always say that KEBS is there to announce and not do something. They always announce. Like, look at all the situations we've had that we had to mention KEBS. We've had the stories, but they don't always do some things. We've said it's happened. Yeah. And another thing is, if it's just in Nairobi County, then I don't think that's a fact, because with Naivas, they use the same procedures in every food they cook, and they get the same suppliers in everything. So how is it that in Nairobi County is where that the problem is, but in other counties, people are okay to enjoy? KEBS knows how to give information, they know how to announce, and they know how to make us aware. But do they do something? And the worst part is the public does not have the power to do anything, except maybe boycott if they need to. But as a human being, as a person who is living, please try as much as possible to look for organic and natural things, because in as much as they've been announced and it looks like it's not a big deal, it could be. for your own sake and your own health, try and take care of yourself as you. Because if we are waiting for the government, KEBS, the announcements, the stories, and the news, we are not going to get the solutions we need, and we are not going to get the information maybe that would have helped us. Because at the end of the day, next week, that will be a different story. KEBS will be on cooking oil. Like, they've been on everything so far. So we are not safe in any way, but they've announced. Thank you so much, KEBS, for giving us the information. We really appreciate, and we hope you give us the next one.
Wait, what do you think? What about the, even just speaking, what would you think about even like when foreign investors start seeing this?
You see, the biggest problem we have with the supply chain of the supermarkets is that no one actually monitors them.
Nobody.
No one monitors them the way they're supposed to be monitored. Because one, a supermarket, when did we pass a law that supermarkets should be cooking food?
Well, it could be the permits, maybe the allowances.
Yeah, but it is not, because what we are asking for is that a supermarket should be where you pick food and you go home. If they wanted to operate a restaurant, they would have applied for a restaurant and put it separately from where they are. Because naturally, if you give someone an opportunity to be cooking food, I will look at the food on my shelf, which is almost
Expired.
getting bad or going bad. And I cook so that I can sell it, so that I don't incur losses. That is one. Because initially, when there were no such restaurants in the supermarkets, these foods would be thrown out, or they would be taken back to the suppliers and say that these ones were not bought on good time, or in good time. But since they have put a restaurant in there, if it's bread and it's 3 or 5 days too, you just make sure you make sandwiches with it.
What about Quickmart? Quickmart is very much known. Quickmart is not written there. Quickmart is one of the best places that even I know who even does that. Why did they only choose? That's a very good point that you point out. Yes. But then I'm wondering, Quickmart is also even doing this very rapidly, very nicely. But then and Naivas and everything, but then why are they only choosing these two? That's why I'm even like now even starting to look at it.
But what happens is that the quality standards are different. Yeah. Everyone has internal quality controls.
Okay.
Every restaurant, every supermarket, you must have your own internal quality control, which checks your products and goods before they go to the consumers. And you must be, if you have a strong quality control internally, then you will make sure that these things don't happen. But if you have a weak link in between, then clearly these things will pass. But the biggest problem is KEBS must always come down. Because when I was talking to Dr. Henry Rotich, I asked him, how comes you do calibration and we've never bought, people have measured bread and there's no bread which is the equivalent weight of what they write there.
True. Even now, even you've seen in the cement story, how even cement is like 41 kgs and it's only a 50 kg bag.
Yeah. So we asked him, what is the calibration?
Bread is not the same weight.
It has never been.
So they asked this.
Never ever.
Yeah.
So,
how much is bread
it's 400, but it's less.
It's a bit, it's around, it's around 390, 350.
On purpose.
Why is bread not the same weight?
I love your honesty. Like, but then, wait, is it all, like, okay, but is that a measure, like, or is that something on the supermarkets, or is that something on the breading company?
On the breading company, but also supermarkets do what? They bake their bread.
Oh yes, that's true. There's that.
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
each one of them have their own like little bread thing that they do.
So is it a recommendation or something? Because
Bread
all of you
should
cannot steal from me knowingly.
But do you know? Do you have a measurement in your house?
Now I am curious to measure
Have you
before I
ever
get it
measured?
from the supermarket.
Have you ever? So you
I've
just
never.
But yeah, even there was even the thing about milk.
Yes.
Those are things. Those are the ways in which now things are actually even taken from us.
The one I know is, you see these spice jars.
Yes.
If you open them, they're always half.
Ah, the reduced.
Always half. I've never understood why they're always half and you buy full price. This is just trying to bring more plastics in the society.
Oh, they're
It's
thinking
not
Kenyans
right.
are too spicy.
What the argument should be that KEBS should look at the supermarkets and have a quality control mechanism for food and products which are being sold in the supermarkets.
So you mean, this is very interesting what you've just said. Kenyans, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
So you said literally that all of this food that we're eating with very fast, sometimes even me by myself when I'm in the house and I don't want to cook. So you're literally eating the leftover of the things that people do not buy, and yet it's been packaged very nicely.
Of course,
for you
because
in a
I
meal.
don't want to incur loss. If I was a businessman anywhere in a supermarket, I will look at what will necessarily go bad and cook for you.
And you will eat.
And you'll eat.
I know, you me.
Didn't you see that man showing us
Can
a
I tell you
sandwich?
something you can watch?
What?
Naivas make their own sausages.
Yes.
But why is it that when you go to buy cooked sausages, it's not theirs? It's another brand.
Really?
Yeah.
But I guess business is a very, but then that's the thing, we have to look for ways to can actually mitigate all these costs and actually now maneuver a business stream because, this government is making us go through crazy measures. Or what do you think, Maria?
But people should eat healthy stuff. They should try and cook food at home. That is the best way they can go
If we have time,
No,
if
we
we
don't
have time.
have
But,
time.
but Maria, you also have a very interesting
Okay, listen to men saying we don't have time. You don't cook for yourself. Find someone to cook for you. Anyway,
We don't have time.
But go ahead.
let's go to the next story.
Yeah.
The next story is about contraceptives.
Again.
1 in 3 women. Yes. 1 in 3 women get a failure of contraceptive, be it injectables, the implants, and all the pills. Yes, this is me again advocating for vasectomy here. So, there's a high failure of...
Continue.
There's a very high failure of contraceptives at the moment. And I don't know if it's the quality or the research that was done initially, or the babies are just superheroes. If they want to come out, they'll just come out. You're not stopping them with whatever you are trying to stop them with. So there's that too. And also God is the one who is the author of life. So if he's authored, you will come to this world to disturb us like Simon. You just have to come. So
Like someone.
Exactly. You're supposed to be a disturbance, and no contraceptive was going to stop me from coming out to this world.
yes.
And I agree. I see what you're saying about contraceptives. One thing is this: when it comes to contraceptives, there are many babies out here who have been prematurely released, and then after that, now they were now incubated within, and then now literally now they were forced out into this world, all because the contraceptive did not work. That is literally what happens a lot of times. And a lot of people even would say, all right, especially when it comes to even younger, when even you do not want an unwanted pregnancy. That usually happens a lot of times. Unwanted pregnancies are there many times. But the main thing is this: when you say 1 in 3, that's what makes me think of the quality of contraceptives that we're receiving, even now going back to the quality, the KEBS thing.
KEBS thing.
Because even now, as even ladies who know, even those P2 thingies, they'll constantly go for the green one, you know. If you know, you know. Yes, yes, exactly. That one, and you know, and you're only supposed to take it once, like the whole year. But you know how much you guys, even you're popping that as if it's a pill every single morning. Seriously. And it's a fact. And that is what's happening a lot of times in this country. Now, I don't know what the long-term repercussions will be, because when that person gets older and they want to actually now get babies, I don't know what that would be. Let us wait and find out if the statistics come out. But one thing you have to take note is this: when it comes to contraceptives and even how you take yourself, you take care of your body, as a lady, you have to take note of this. First of all, as a man, if you lie with a woman and you release inside of her, you don't have any say about that. You only have negotiation. You don't have any say. You don't have any say. You only have negotiation. You don't have any say.
You have to pay for it?
Yes, you don't have any say. You only have negotiation. You notice that you're giving her power. Just note that. Be careful who you release inside. Now, the other thing is this: as a lady, be careful on who you you take care of your body, because your body is literally the one that actually goes through the most when it comes to this. It's your body. It's you and you alone. You're the one who's going to go through those 9 months. You're the one who's going to have to live with the repercussions that changes in your body, your mentality, all that other stuff. So when you are aware of this, be well aware of the measures that you need to take. And if you want to engage in it, what you need to do is now go to the various places and then put in the proper ones, because there are doctors out here who can even mitigate it. It's 1 in 3. It's not a majority. Remember that. It's 1 in 3. We don't want to scare you to death and then now you start thinking it's everywhere. But it's 1 in 3, but you could be also those 3. You know how you never think that it's me going to be one of those 1 in 3? It could be you. Tonight even. But go ahead.
I wonder why, when it comes to something like that, we don't want to be 1 in a million, but when it comes to success, it's 1 in a million, and you want to be that one. Anyway, okay. First of all, I am a believer of women have always been subjected to too much.
Too much of what?
Too much. The way you are jumping at
no,
me,
too much
both
of what?
you.
Success. Yes,
hey,
I understand.
Relax.
Yes. Too much of what?
No, like we have to go through the contraceptives, and it comes with the side effects and the issues, and sometimes even trying to have a baby again after contraceptive may take long, because you're looking at it from it failing, but you're not looking at it from the time you want a baby after contraceptive. Sometimes it gets even long.
I think that issue is a little bit also oversized. You have to note that there are a lot of people
Yes.
who have done it, and the majority are okay.
Yes, I
It's
know
only a
that.
minority. So don't overemphasize.
Yes,
That
it's okay,
statement has
it's
been
okay.
stated many times.
Let me
That's a
finish.
minority.
Let me finish. Yes, there's the minority, there's all that.
Yeah.
But I'm also, like I've said before, I actually advocate for vasectomy. I do.
Explain.
Because, you see, if we have had enough children, why am I supposed to be subjected to a lifetime of this situation when you know that you are the problem and not me? Just think about it that way. Like, you are the problem and not me.
Because I cannot control myself.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm subjected to forever remembering, oh, it's 3 years, oh, it's the 2 years mark, it's the 5-year mark. I will keep remembering until I get to postmenopausal. You see, that's a big deal. But imagine you once done, bye-bye. You don't even have to think about it again. You see the advantage of that? Yes, I want you to think of it
Continue.
that way. However, when it comes to contraceptives failing, I feel like when initially they were coming, they were not as failing as now. So everything nowadays is becoming so substandard. Like, we are talking about the fact that nowadays, yes, the P2 issue is that if P2, once someone uses it for a very long time, it affects the womb and the fallopian tubes, they get weaker. So you find that getting pregnant becomes hard. I've had cases of people who have actually removed their wombs because of the same. Because you see now it causes a lot of damage in the ovaries and the fallopian tube.
Yeah, that's a last resort. It's not
Yes.
the first resort.
It's not the first resort, but yes. But P2 was meant... P2, actually, if you read the leaflet very well, it says you're not supposed to take it twice in a month.
Not twice a year.
So now imagine someone taking it every morning because it's called an emergency pill. They have an emergency every morning. Now you're married, that's not an emergency, you're married, go and do a proper family planning. So when it comes to, if the health status of this country, we've heard of expired medicine being sold. We've heard of lack of medicine in the country. We've heard of all those stories. So if we come to contraceptive, it's not any better. It is just the usual, the substandard things being given to the people in the public for them to take in their bodies. Okay. So it's nothing has changed. It's a substandard story that we talk about in the health industry that is making this happen. However, when it comes to something like a coil failing, check on with your doctor also. Sometimes a coil fails because of some things like how it was installed. You cannot go to an hospital and then they tell you, she's in attachment, she just arrived today. Learn with this one. If they're learning with this one, you are going to raise a baby. So you have to also think of who is going to install that coil in you. That is very important. And most importantly, when you decide to do a family planning, if one is not working, leave, go to the next. Just try and know your body. Because sometimes you already know that this thing looks 50-50 in my body, but you still want to do it. And some even skip the pill. That's why they are getting pregnant. So in all this, if the medicine is substandard and you get pregnant, that is blame the government. If it's not substandard and you are the one who was careless, blame yourself. But if you can convince your man to do a vasectomy, do it.
See you.
So I think I read that report. It was there were around 135,000 children who were born out of people who had taken some either contraception or form of it. And the most glaring thing was that the most offenders, I think, is because they were using the emergency pill. Emergency pill is just an emergency pill. It doesn't say that it will protect you. An emergency pill is something which can either fail or... But what I know is that in the market space today, there are many other substandard medicine which has been brought in, especially from Kariobangi Industries, people who try to make money quickly out of it. Because if you go every Monday, that's the most sold medicine.
True.
It's the most sold from chemists and all that, and the reports are there. We've looked at it and we've seen that many chemists will tell you their biggest sale comes from P2. So then they have a problem here. The problem is that most of our girls have resulted into taking that as medication, which is not supposed to be. And 90% of things like condoms and that, some we have been tested and we found some of them to be below standards. KEBS did one, and some of them were withdrawn from the market, but you know what happens in the Republic. You withdraw, someone comes and buys it and takes it back to the market. So it is in everyone's interest to make sure that you buy recommended products, especially medicine out there. Don't go and buy medicine which is because it's cheap. Ask for medicine which is considered.
But let me ask like a 12-year-old.
Go ahead.
How would a condom be substandard?
It rips, it breaks.
It breaks. Yeah.
It breaks, yeah. That's what happens. It's substandard, it breaks.
If it breaks, run away. Okay.
If it breaks, run away. And if it breaks, and that happens a lot. And if one key thing is, in all of this conversation, key thing is be sexually responsible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the thing is, who you sleep with, and even who you sleep with can actually even have an effect on you permanently if you mess around and actually not even know how even tactically even handle yourself. And you as a man, don't go out here and just carelessly just releasing inside everybody. Know how to even pace yourself. Hey, don't go out here. And as a lady, at the same time, you see, you're telling about vasectomies. You as a lady, you can even tie your tubes, and that's actually a real thing. Marius was even doing it for free. Yes, he was doing it for free.
Tie my tubes.
Yes, they were even doing it for free.
Doing
you
it
can
for
even
free.
tie your tubes.
To tie my tubes.
Yes, ladies, you can tie your tubes at the same time, and then
I'm
go
still
free,
saying a man should take one for the team. That's the only thing I'm saying.
You can
take
take
one
both,
for the team.
But then the thing is, I take one for the team, but then now I'm not the person who's going to bear the most responsibility.
Yeah,
so
but
my advice I'll even give is that even if you're a lady out there, knowing that you're the one who's going to bear the most of the brunt of even a pregnancy that was supposed to happen, and you notice we're talking about all these medications, they were talking about your body. We're not talking even about the men so much. The men were just about even the condom aspect and just even maybe one vasectomy here and there, which is a minor surgery. But you are the one who's going to bear the brunt. So knowing that, please be responsible for your body, not only who you engage with sexually, but at the same time, knowing what measures can I take, knowing when I want to get pregnant, and knowing the steps, knowing you can plan your life accordingly, because you know very well, even you've seen older ladies and aunties, you know even how when they get pregnant and how even sometimes their life can reach a level of stagnation in a different thing. You know it. So plan your life accordingly. It's your life. Don't plan someone else to take care of your life. Where?
People have stopped being scared of STIs and STDs so much that they feel like
it's a code.
P2 is just let's run to P2, because for someone to go into P2 regularly, it means that it's not one person, because if it's one person, you just discuss on the family planning method. So people are not scared of STIs and STDs at all anymore, and that's a major problem.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's just awareness. We're about to go on a break.
Yeah, sure.
But let me even tell you guys where. There's a story I have to tell you about a preacher who refused a present from politicians. I will stay close right there.
Where?
Welcome back. Of course, Simon, you ended with telling people
Yes.
to be careful on who you sleep with
Yes.
and how you do it.
Yes. Be sexually responsible.
And be sexual.
Because
Responsibility
all of
is
those
key.
Exactly.
And now, away from
all that.
let's talk about a preacher
Oh.
and a gift. You know, these politicians always think that Kenyans are desperate as anything. In Kirinyaga, Bishop Wainaina rejected 50,000 shillings and a goat from an MCA. That's why I like the Catholics. At least they have some stand. If it was these other churches of ours, someone would have taken and said, "Oh, guys, I give it."
Yeah, let's even clap for MCA.
Yes.
Imagine that's the churches that you go to, Maria. Isn't that right?
The church is like,
Yeah, those ones that receive the
And they receive the goat and
my pastor is good.
Huh?
So what is your take on the?
For
They
me,
have stand or standards. Okay.
for me, I would say this.
Yeah.
It's about time that we actually even set standards for even our politicians. First of all, let's set standards in the sense that if it was only 50K and someone else can bring 1 point something, step up the standards. Even take those to the kids first of all. When you come to the church, bring something bigger that we can put some respect on it. But at the same time also, because when politician gives you something, they're seeking leverage. Remember that. When a politician gives you something, they're seeking leverage on you, and indeed they will come back to get it back. And when a pastor That's a very good pastor. When a pastor even was he a pastor or
Bishop
bishop,
Wainaina.
sorry. When that bishop refused that gift, it's actually now a sign that indeed the normal way of actually handling and doing things is now slowly coming to an end, and the sections which are now revolting is not business as usual, because what usually now the politician seeks is you seek even an audience and you seek even now credibility from those leaders, because you know how prominent it is, especially in Kirinyaga, even rural Kenya. What happens is someone of deity, they usually place on a pedestal, and what they say is usually what goes, and hence now politicians seek their credibility and they want to ride off their credibility. There's no politician who's given the credibility of you always tell the truth. All of them are liars and they're busy calling each other a liar. Then it's like that Spider-Man meme. Ni wewe! Then he's just pointing back at you, it's you. All of them are liars. It's just now who is the more convincing with their lie. And when a pastor now stands up like that, I finally feel like now we're able to even set standards in which, one, how even church is conducted, and even giving respect, not only even to the church, but even to the deity, even to the whole ensemble of what the church stands for. So make church great again. That is what he has done. He has made church great again, because that is actually a key thing. Because church was losing its credibility by allowing all of
people,
yes,
to give
even the
something.
pigs to come here and actually now say, some of those we elected, come here and then now give so much money. That's now we're actually setting a standard and we're making church great again. That is now good.
So 50,000.
Yes.
And a goat.
Yes.
But he was an MCA. The bishop should have understood. Because I'm sure if that bishop saw millions, it would have been a different story.
You think so?
Yes, I think so. It would have been a different story. We know them. They always love bigger money. But he should have understood it. Let's be realistic. If he was bringing it for Thanksgiving, will you have refused?
No,
the mistake the MCA did was giving it as a gift. He would have come and said, this is Thanksgiving. Give it to God on my behalf.
Now you're talking.
You see,
that would have made sense.
That would have made sense, right? But he still would have gone to the church, right? So in this case, it's true, we know that. So this is the point. For if the MCA came with a good way of giving it, it would have been taken. But then again, the people will come with millions, because you see now, campaign is a lot. And I'm seeing MCAs campaign a lot. I don't know why they're the ones who have started so fast.
Maria, you know why I'm saying that for other churches it is. But Catholics, it's very different.
Catholics have never received
you
money.
Cannot, how would you account for it?
It's an offering.
And you can't. You see, what happens is that there are churches with a bit of structure, and the structure goes to Rome. And if you're given that money, Bishop Anyolo returned Ruto's car. The other bishop from Catholic has returned. The Catholics have always been consistent in how they return these things. If it doesn't meet the threshold of what we call the gospel, or it meet the church, how it they are
What if he said it's an offering?
It is not possible. If it's an offering, you put it and it goes. But
So-
Unannounced.
yeah, unannounced.
So the MCA announced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He was there trying to announce.
You guys, have you not seen that MCA has become more popular because of this?
But yeah, not really.
Because now he's been known.
But if it was other churches,
he's trying to vie, and his gift was returned. You see now, all the people around knew. If he kept it in the basket, it would not have been known.
Yeah,
I think there's another way of PR.
Okay, there's that.
There's that. It could be
But
PR.
there's
Because right
that.
now we are here seated. We know there's an MCA in Kirinyaga who gave.
Yeah.
But initially, last week, did we know that? So that's an action taken. So if you know a Catholic somewhere, and Catholic has crowd. So you see, a lot of people get the
you
information.
see how the Catholics do their thing is that there might be bad people in the church, but I always say that I love people, organized churches with organized structures, with accountability, because there's an accountability. There's someone who you're accountable to in the parish, to what, to another level. The only problem I have, and what Simon is saying, make church great again, is that I opened my own church, and I'm the sole proprietor.
Yeah, I've seen
I
that.
decide. So if you give me that 50,000,
I'm
I
actually
don't
a
even say
signatory.
anything to the crowd. I just say thank you very much and keep it. So we are saying we want to make church great again. And how do we make it great again? Is that people should not allow politicians to vomit on our shoes.
Most importantly, if a politician gets into church and, okay, that's me. If a politician gets into church and start talking, I will walk out. Because I came to church. I did not come to a campaign meeting.
That's true. Now here's what. This is worse. Especially now, the double entendre can be now when a pastor becomes a politician.
Yeah.
Then
I'll
now,
leave the church.
now it can be a double.
I would leave the church because I don't see how you can serve both. It's really hard. For you to come and lie to me, you will do something for me, and for you to pray to God to do something for me. There is no balance in that.
You think so?
I don't think there's a balance of a politician to be a minister of Christ.
Exactly. That's why
You can be saved as a politician and do God's work as maybe you are what are they called? The elder of a church, the deacon of a church, fine. But you cannot be the pastor of a church and a politician in the same church for someone like me to listen to you, because I know for sure that there are lines you cross as a politician, and there's nothing you can tell me that you don't, no matter how much you are saved. But and then you tell me now you are trying to be holier than thou for now when you come on Sunday. No, I don't want that. That is hypocrisy.
That's why we need to make church great again. That's why I've agreed with you on that. And even
but you see, now the Catholic is different. With the Catholic now, Catholics cannot even be politicians. That's one thing we are sure. They cannot do politics. You see?
I see.
So this MCA knew what he was doing. I think he knew.
He does, yeah.
He does. And now we know there's an MCA who gave money.
That's
not an idea for you to go and campaign that way.
But some might even do that way. And there's also another guy who even got an idea to leave his wife behind in a very interesting scenario. You see, sometimes even as men, when you decide that indeed that this is a girl I want to marry, because you looked at her and you're like, that one we can reproduce with. So now what happens is, now you guys, you agree, okay, cool. Then all of a sudden she says, now let me go introduce you to my parents. Then you start doing the whole ratio and everything. Boss, let me tell you the money that you will cough out. So this guy, he went to, it was in Rift Valley area. Yes. Now he went, then now, of course, there's like a fine even at the gate before you enter. There's no more fines. Then of course, they lined up the ladies, they wrapped them up very nicely. You know that cloning thing where they cover up the ladies, and then you're supposed to guess, who is my wife? Do I even know her? Then of course, what happened was,
wrong choice.
He wrote the wrong choice. In Kikuyu tradition, you know what they're supposed to do? When you pick the wrong choice, you're actually supposed to go with an old grandmother. That's yes. That is what happens.
As a wife or as a
no, you just take her. Now you take an old grandmother. You're not even as a wife. You're just supposed to take an old grandmother. But what happened in this situation, of course, you're fined there. Now what happened is, of course, there's some other little fines here and there. Then the elders of the, who are the ladies' relatives, they all of a sudden came together and they said, brother, you have a fine of $500,000, which you must pay in order for us to give you a daughter. Before I say my thoughts, because I have very interesting thoughts about this, I want to hear, what he did was, after he heard that, the guy said, give me a second.
Let me come.
Let me go to the loo.
Let me come.
So he went to the loo. Next time he was spotted in a matatu on his way home. Your thoughts before I say anything?
Before you say anything, I blame the lady.
Explain.
You know, for someone to identify a lady in a crowd, it's really, okay, first of all, let's be realistic. Men can hardly do that.
What?
We know. Like identify your lady in a crowd of women who are the same. No, we know that most of the time you have a leakage. Not that we don't know, we know. So for him to have identified her wrong, there are things that the lady must have told him, you know my perfume. Okay, first of all, I have this perfume. There's a specific scent that I have.
Yeah.
Definitely you will know my perfume if you come close to me.
Yeah.
Second, I will be looking like this, I will be having this, I will signal you like this. You don't tell me that the man got it wrong and then then he's fine and the lady is like, okay, continue finding him, continue making his life hard, continue doing all this. And that's why I always say that sometimes we give men pressure so much that to a point that when we get married and go to their home and their family now, we became bad daughter-in-laws. For no reason. We were not supposed to be. But because of the hardship that we had to give these men to marry us, it looks like we were so much distressed and in need of money that we were not going to be what they expected of us. Because for this man to have run away, the pressure was too much.
Yeah.
And the pressure of being fined all the time, you know, the lady could have easily said that, don't give him a hard time. And everything would have been easy. Yeah, it would have been easy because at the end of the day, the people who are finding you, did they even raise the lady? I get it. It's culture and it's supposed to be honored. But sometimes give the life of a young man. He's young, he's trying to find life. And nowadays, actually, me as Maria, the author of Marriage is a Scam, I don't know why I advocate to pay dowry much later.
How much later?
A bit when you're
Like
married.
5 years?
4 or 5 is okay.
4 or 5.
Because now
To know whether this
I will
person's
go
valid.
home, you lock the door. But at the end of the day, if you don't agree, I'll still go home to where I came from.
Will you be welcomed?
Where?
You might not be welcome. You might be sent back, go back where you came from.
That's the point. I'm married already.
Yeah.
I did come, we stay.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay.
I did come, we stay. So now my husband has decided to do the right thing. Now we are coming. Are you going to lock me never to go to my husband again?
We'll see. Some parents.
Good. But now here's the point. Not to go to my husband.
Go ahead,
if
continue.
You have kids, those
Continue,
parents will open the
continue.
door. No, this is the point. I feel like this man, for him to have run away, the pressure was too much. And the agreement before then, we agree this is what was supposed to happen. I see it as choosing the lady in the middle as a petty issue for a man to be given such pressure. Anything else, fine. If we had an agreement, you are bringing 1,000 goats and you did not bring, I'll give you pressure. We had an agreement, you are bringing 12 million and you are coming to pay us for everything we've done for this girl, fine. An agreement. Because you don't come on day one to come and pay the dowry. There's the negotiation.
Of course.
But it's so petty because you are covered and they did not recognize you. You must have, she's your girlfriend. There has to be a way that you would know she's your girlfriend. Also, unless the man really wanted to go away, that's why she did not even make a point. She really wanted to create a scene.
You see,
Well,
I look at it broadly on the commercialization of marriages in Africa. And I think that modern parents are messing big time in commercializing marriages for people and saying that you must give me this, or because I educated her to this level. Traditionally, marriages were meant to be a relationship builder, where you have been told this is what you bring, and that is it. And it was not because you must deliver this much. And those fines and the additions, the negotiation was done prior that I want to marry your daughter and this is the amount of money I'll come with. Are you comfortable with it? Yes. If you are not comfortable, then you say, I cannot get married. You don't get into that space. And this thing is happening so repeatedly nowadays. Many times I've seen there's a family, a girl who was also left during the wedding in Umoja with the same thing, because the guy had agreed to marry her. They went, the family decided they wanted 2 million. The guy said, no problem, I'll pay 2 million. Gave the money and said, now when is the wedding today? I'll come. The maid, the girl was totally dressed up for the wedding. The guy just came that night and took a flight to London.
Why after paying 2 million?
Because he wanted to teach them a lesson. Because if you're interested in money, I'll give you the money.
Then he just left.
And then I leave.
By himself?
Yes. So the best man, the best man comes to pick the guy in the morning. When he called, there was no one. So they're calling, the guy is in London.
Gone.
Went with the last flight in the night.
What if
That is a smart man, because
not a smart man? Why do I throw my money and then go? I'll just go without giving you my money.
Because there are people with money. There are people who have finances. Finances is not an issue sometimes to people.
What is money?
I need
Some
it.
people, what they say is a relationship. Marriage is about relationship.
Yeah.
Is what kind of a relationship am I getting into? Is this family genuine or not? And we've seen this. My late friend Bruce Odhiambo, when he was wanted to get a baby, he wanted a contract. And he approached the girl and said, I think you're very beautiful. Can you be the mother of my kids?
I see the logic behind that. Even this story gives me the perspective is indeed that there's a role a lady has to play in protecting her man.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a heavy role, and then now when a lady falters in that role of even protecting her man is when now even her relatives and everything can easily come and take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So even you as a man, if you're constantly being bombarded by even your lady's relatives, take a close look even at your own lady that even you're with. Is she even doing her active role, even protecting you, because you're in a relationship, not a combative situation in which you guys are playing separate roles. You have to remember that. And when it comes to even this, even I also want to recognize the reason why would a man even constantly reach a point in which he just dumps or leaves it all behind after going through all these stages in the dowry process and completely go, is because there was no depth in that relationship at the same time.
Yeah.
Even at the same time, even he can feel, being honest, in a situation in which a man is paying dowry and is actively making a public proclamation in the presence of your relatives as a lady, it is your point in which you should not only acknowledge it, but the fact that you go out of your way to make sure that when it comes to those games that you're wrapped up and everything, that he actively knows the nail polish that you're supposed to be wearing, so he can actually select you in the line so that he doesn't lose funds and everything, that you put him in a position that he can actually win. A woman who puts her man in a position that he can actually win is a true content of a partner. A woman who neglects that role is a woman who leads you to failure. That is the truth.
So the woman was there standing and hoping to be chosen.
Not even that. No. It can also be very passive. Don't have to even put. It can also be very passive. It's never anything malicious. It's like this, for example. I don't speak up when now this action is being done and I'm seeing wrong being done. Just like how if I see wrong being done to even my woman, I will speak up because I know this is a representation of me and I need to make sure I protect what I indeed care about. People protect what they care about. And as a lady, if you don't speak up, not it's because sometimes it's not being malicious. It's not that you're trying to be malicious, is you take a seat back and you allow things to happen. Because actually when you sit back and you allow things to happen, just like how you ladies say, when we don't speak up as men to people who are aggressively against you, we are complicit in those things. Your ladies say that all the time. Now, when y'all do the same thing, you're passive, you're sit back, and when your man is in a position in which he is vulnerable to a situation in which you can actually take control of, you're also neglecting your role. And that is a very key, that's a key thing that's actually not talked about. That is important even when it comes to even partnerships, because when there's a neglect there,
because
even me as a man, I'll be like, where? But what's going on?
She would have pulled her she's shirt. Like we have a code. When you come close, I will touch your shirt.
You see, Maria,
No,
that was very small.
That was small for 5
It's
years.
the 500,000
Let me tell
they
you,
asked.
my biggest problem with that, I read that thing. My biggest problem with that marriage is not the fine he was being told to pay. That one he could pay, it's 5,000 or something. The problem is that the agreed amount of dowry was raised. You see, when I come to get married to you, there is an amount we know we can raise. People don't just get from their homes to come for the wedding or dowry negotiation without a figure, which someone had been sent before and been told, these guys are coming. This is the much they can afford to come and pay. Now, if you raise it, there's a friend of mine, I laughed when I was doing my master's in Daystar. There's a very beautiful kissy girl who wanted to get married. Then they went to get married, and what happened is that the agreement, that gentleman had agreed to pay 500,000. When they reached there, the parents demanded 2 million. Well, do you know what the young man did?
What?
He called guys to Legend in Rongai for a drink with that 500. Said, come and drink. Let's have a drink.
Just like that?
Just like that.
Did they ever get married?
Never.
He would have invested the money.
That's you have to remember, there's a certain, when it comes to money and a man, it also can be a very touchy issue, because we connect also a lot of our value based on even that money. Now when you come in and we've already even stated that this is the amount that we can whatever, and then now you almost even double it, you're almost even diminishing us in your presence. And it's not one person doing it, it's like a whole committee that's even doing it. And then now when that's done, why should I even go there?
You just call your friend.
That's literally now you can say that. Why would I want to even pay to be part of this madness? Why would I want to give you leverage in my life? Because this is the first step. There's going to be many more that I'm sure even you overstep your boundary and try to do this. That is the truth.
So it is important for parents to know that you cannot change the rules of the game. You cannot just wake up today and say, my daughter, I educated her with 2 million.
Yeah.
Are we
want the
buying
fees.
her?
Actually, you know that
Are
story.
we buying her?
Yeah, CEO, you know that story. Do you know what they did? They
Yeah.
actually talked about the fees.
Yeah.
That's why he went
Are
away.
we buying her?
You know, they said $500,000 for the fees. That's why he was because.
It's
So-
not like he's coming to get her papers.
Yeah. Am I the graduation square?
Yeah, why?
That's the point.
You know, that's the problem.
There's also that can
But-
be, don't frustrate
You
love.
don't own-
Let people fall in
Let's
love and
not-
do their thing.
And,
I don't
and-
think you own the knowledge she has in her head.
And then the other biggest mistake people do with this in this marriage thing is that the way we also copy the culture. If you look at where that setting is, the Kalenjins are not known to do it that way. Or wrapping people, hiding. It's not in their culture. It's the same way I've seen some Luo guys nowadays throw money on people.
Yeah.
That's a Nigerian
Yes,
culture.
Nigerian, yeah.
Why are we bringing Nigerian culture in our wedding, in our negotiations? And those things, those are Nigerians.
Yeah.
I don't know that
But
culture.
Luo and Nigerians are...
No, they are the same, but there are some there are things which are very clear
Yeah.
about marriages. In traditional setup, marriages are supposed to be a lifetime thing because you'll always chip in. If there's something is needed in your parents' place, the son-in-law is asked, can you help us here? There's a new water tank we want. You'll just do those things. Yeah. But if you ask me to pay you $1 million now,
I will never come
I
again.
will never come back to do anything again.
Yeah.
If there's what we call another wedding and you need cows or what, I wouldn't give.
That's true because dowry is meant to be a connecting point, not a separation point.
Yeah.
And that is supposed to be a bridge between two families, in which now we know that indeed Simon's family is be able to bring this, and this is the beginning of
a
their
relationship.
engagement. Yes, that is literally how we do it, and that's why we're keeping it real this week.
I'm
by the
Yeah,
way.
glad,
man.
Simon,
Yeah.
you've learned about dowry today, so...
Who? Me?
You, yes,
yeah, because
so-
I'm paying this year maybe.
I'll take you.
We'll see you guys next week.